anyways, things just don't always go the way you hope they do. And so you have to, what would you say, make do what you have. Sorry for the delay of coming on and starting our Come Follow Me program. I'm hoping that we are prepared to. Um, I'm trying to still set up here real quick, trying to get everything together. Why do I have? So anyway, it's just give me a minute here while I'm trying to get things together. Uh, I am my computer and me are not getting along right now. Um, for whatever reason, it's trying to make life difficult for me. All right, so we'll just keep moving along here, motoring along. Just like I said, be patient with me until I get this straightened out a little bit. To Yeah, it's all right. Like I said, be patient with me until I. All right. So now, what are we talking about today? Well, we're going to. Yesterday, I was going to make a short and put it on all of my. Again, I, I'm on Instagram. If Latter Day Saint on Fire, a YouTube channel called the Latter Day Saint on Fire, Paul and AJ's Ex Mormon Files, where I get into heavy, deep discussions with an anti R2. Also, I have a Facebook group called For the Love of God. I have, let me get my microphone over here, make me look like I'm talking to somebody. And then I have my own Facebook group called Facebook called Arthur AJ Hill. And anywhere you want, you can leave a comment here or leave a comment or message me or whatever you want to do if you want to come on here live. And unfortunately, you know, I could get one of my videos that blew up and had 10,000 views, and but it was controversial, and so people, love that stuff. But this is what I've been uh, inspired to do is to come to you every morning at 7 o'clock now uh, to engage in the Come Follow Me curriculum. I call it Wake Up with the Come Follow Me discussion. And I'm hoping that more people are eager to read to follow the curriculum as I am and really engage with the Lord. And again, I always say when we wake up in the morning, the first thing we want to do is cinch up that harness that is attached to that yoke, and that way we feel the power of the Lord as He is could helping us through our daily task. And when trials and tribulations come, and they do for many of us, then we're prepared to take those on because we've been prepared by the Lord to do so. So again, that's why we're doing this in the morning. And even, and like I said, there's it's this is not capturing the fancy of many, but that's okay. Like I said, I get discouraged at night. Driving home, it takes me about 20 minutes, and I didn't stop talking to the Lord until I got home and finished there because it really concerns me that this thing's not taking off. But What concerns me more than anything is my own attitude. Here I'm given the the best of situations where I can come and actually go through the curriculum for myself and have that hour and a half that I spend with the Lord uh, to myself, and and also doing these things online. There is those who are also benefiting from them. It's not a huge amount, but there's Amber's always there. She's always appreciative of the work that I do, and she's always sending me text and encouraged me to continue on, and that means a lot to me. Um, and I should be just encouraged by the fact that the Lord wants me to do this. And but sometimes we get, uh, what would you say? There's a reward versus effort kind of situation here where I'm doing I'm preparing and getting these things online and sometimes the reward doesn't seem to have the same value as the effort that I'm putting forth, and I get caught up into that, and I apologize for uh, to my Father in heaven, Jesus Christ, for that kind of attitude because they only know those inner feelings, and I express them here because I think that's important for you guys to know where I'm at sometimes and how difficult this is to stay motivated at times. But I stay, but again, whenever you're feeling where despaired and you don't feel like uh, the reward is has the same amount of value or greater value um, than the effort that you're putting into it, then you got to take that to the Lord and let Him get you through that moment of despair. And so that's um, partly this is kind of where Martin Harris is. He's and where he's struggling is because he's not his no matter the effort that he's putting out, he's not receiving the amount of reward based on effort. All right, and so and then whenever you pile on the fact that his wife is beating him down and he's not engaged in the farming that he usually does because he's made his money and he's able to do the work that but his wife is not satisfied. But I think the reason that his wife is not satisfied with with the outcome here is because she has a bitter taste for the whole thing. Actually, there's some things that we're going to get into, and like I said yesterday, I wanted to make a short, and then I wanted, and I made one here on YouTube, just a summary of what we learned yesterday. And then I was going, what I do is I take my phone and I record at the same time, and I forgot to hit the record button, and I don't record the 5 minute summary on Zoom because I figure I just do it on my phone. I just anyway, but because of that situation, I'm and I tried to record something several times and it just didn't work out. It was like garbage. I'm like, and then when I was driving down the road, I'm trying to figure out what how do I articulate something, and it was just never materialized. I'm like, God, what's going on here? And then as I'm going down the road, I and I'm trying to progress in this, how do I make this short so I can put it on TikTok and Instagram and things like that. And then it came to me that I never went where the Lord wanted me to go in this discussion about the 116 pages. I was reminded of the critical nature of the evidence uh, that that um, provides a path to know that Joseph Smith was a prophet of God because of the circumstances surrounding the 116 pages and how they were lost. So again, I was all geeked up. I was like excited. I was going to get home on time, and I was going to get everything, research a bunch of stuff uh, to present to the audience of one or however many people watch this. Uh, but I was really excited about this, and of course, last night I had a major failure at work that the boss asked me to stay over, and um, and I so it was like, so I had to stay over for a couple of hours, about an hour and a half extra. And then my cousin had talked to for a long time. And he's a lot older than well, a little bit older than I am. He called, and I called him back while I was at work, and I just clocked out and talked to him for about 30 minutes. So I got home about 9 o'clock last night and tried to prepare something uh, for you as an audience about evidence, the kind of uh, uh, tapestry that was woven at this time, uh, that has a lot of threads, that has a lot of moving parts that that create a um, a center point that points to Joseph Smith and his prophetic calling. And I want to discuss them with you. And we're going to bring up some uh, journals and some timelines that will help us to discover this woven tapestry and how everything points back to Joseph Smith's prophetic calling. Because that's what we're doing here. See, we are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and we look to our prophet, Joseph Smith, as being the conduit back to Jesus Christ. Uh, because there's what would you say? There's a direct correlation of our faith in Jesus Christ and that true that relationship we have with Him because of Joseph Smith. All right, it's again, people that don't accept Joseph Smith as a prophet of God, they accept the men in the Bible, the people in the Bible, as their conduit back to Jesus Christ. So our conduit happens to be Joseph Smith. And there's so much controversy surrounding Joseph Smith because of the polygamy, because of the blacks in the priesthood, because of uh, the war, the Mormon Missouri War, and all these things that happened, the bank safety society, all these failures that we see as failures at the time, uh, and then you go into, well, they don't have the same Jesus, and uh the correct Jesus according to Christianity. I'm like, oh gosh. um how do you figure that? I mean, your Jesus doesn't look like the Bible either. But there's so much to say about the uh the kind of hurdles that people have to get over in order to accept Joseph Smith as a prophet of God. And the more and more evidence that we have to provide, does it really make it that much easier? No, because then it really comes down to lifestyle. All right. That's where it really hinges on lifestyle. Again, reward versus effort. How much effort are we putting into this, and how much is the reward? And if the effort that we're putting in to overcome so much of maybe doctrinal, I mean, we get beat down because Nephi says that we are saved by grace after all that we can do. And I'm like, yeah, but if you read the rest of the chapter, it explains this is in the time of Moses. So why you got to hang up about that? Because much of the book describes the grace of Jesus Christ and how we are saved through grace and not by works, And so uh, again, we get beat down by all these different things, uh, and then the King Follett discourse. I love the King Follett discourse. But again, there's so many hurdles. The Book of Abraham, and the parchments that we have that don't really uh, uh, lend itself to be a one-for-one translation. Okay, well, we don't have a lot of journals stating those situation, but at least one account says there was a scroll that was 40 feet long. That it took up a whole, length of a whole room or whatever, of the house, whatever that looked like, meaning that there's a lot more going on with that story than just our little parchments that we have now. I mean, a lot of that stuff was sold to the Chicago library and they burned. So we don't know what was the totality of all these things. Again, but what we read in the book of Abraham is beautiful language. And somehow, because it talks about the council of gods, paralleled with the council of gods in Psalms, why would you condemn that when it's already written in the Bible in the same manner? There's so much again, but there's a lot of again for a lot of people, there's a lot of hurdles to get over. And when I present this evidence, it's you put it in your back pocket. You go out and um, you go out and you teach others, just random people. It's fun. It's everything. I get to teach people all the time about the gospel because of the things that I'm learning day by day, and that's what we're supposed to be doing with this stuff is out proselyting, and that's why I bring this stuff online and do this because whether I'm talking to one or if I'm talking to a million people, I'm 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 connected to God at that moment, and I'm doing these things. And so, and I love, and God has children, and the more that I can connect with the children of God, the more I'm connected with Him. It's just reciprocal in that way, and that's what we do. Uh, so again, I've spoken for like 16 minutes here and really haven't gone anywhere, but I'm going to get somewhere here real quick. But I really appreciate those who have stood this long and share this video, like this video, comment, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification. Go ahead and reach out and request to come on Zoom with me so that you can be a participant. And again, if you complain about the content, I can't help that because all you have to do is just hit the is type a few words, say, hey, I want to be on there so we can improve this content. And then you can come on and you can do whatever you want. We can move this venture in the direction that you would like because it's not about me. This is about me motivating others to get up in the morning and kickstart the day off with the Lord and stop going to the world as a way to be energized. I mean, if you're not going to the Lord first as a Latter-day Saint and and praying and doing all these things that we haven't even said prayer this morning yet, but I think I'll drop one in there before we really get started. But uh, we might as well be just drinking our coffee and getting the day started like the world does. We are Latter-day Saints. We are something unique and special. And again, the reward that we receive right now is doesn't and the effort that we're putting into the work doesn't seem like the reward is really uh, paying dividends to the efforts that we're putting in. How hard is it for a family to uh, to to a mother and father who, for whatever reason, children, leave the nest and they leave the church. And how hard is that? Not to want to give up. And there's some that do, just because, they don't want to, that idea that I'm going to lose my children if I don't follow them. You never lose your children. You've been bonded in the sanctity of that temple. And all things will, I was just watching a podcast yes, Sunday, and this woman had a near-death experience, and she enters into, and her brother had committed suicide, and the brother said it's real, and he was talking about the temple. So anyway, let's get to where we're supposed to be going here. Again, I appreciate the individuals that are joining me. Again, it makes uh, I'm excited about the gospel all the time. Yesterday was a disaster. It didn't really go that well, but the reason was because I wasn't going the direction that the Lord wanted me to go. So again, we're talking about the 116 pages and the evidence that points from that actually points to the fact that Joseph Smith is a prophet of God. And we're going to go through some of those evidences right now that actually validate his prophetic calling, and it's important that we do that. Like I said, we're not going to convince those who deem the lifestyle too much, and many people do in the world. But those who are maybe thinking about these things and struggling a little bit, you know, pondering, having that moment of doubt. Maybe this encourages them. So again, the more we uh, get the word out and give them more content to latch onto, and it's got to be good content. I get it, but it's only good content if if the if it expands to where I want it to go. And it's not expanding where I want it to go. I'd love to have a theologian on. I'd love to have a history geek on, and just a roundtable discussion on these matters. But that's not happening. So you got me by myself, and I'm going to give you the best show I possibly can. And I know that one person at least appreciates everything I do. But again, my idea situation is, but you know what? That's my idea situation. Well, guess what? The Lord is saying that's not my idea of the situation at this moment. And so AJ, accept what I have to offer at this moment, because you're going to grow and learn much more this way, because that's because I know that's the way it works. So we got to trust in the Lord, all right, and all that He does for us. All right. So anyway, we're going to shoot here at into the let's see, did we already share? Nope. All right, let's share this. All right, so this is the timeline of Martin Harris, and so this gets into uh, what would you say, where he's born and all that kind of stuff. We'll go through it real quick. It said Martin is born in Easton, Saratoga, New York. All right. He's second of 8 children. With parents to Swift Landing, later known as Palmyra, New York. Martin marries Lucy Harris in 1808. Um, and then you have uh, Martin marries Lucy Harris, first cousin, and his first cousin. Holy smokes! I didn't know that. Ay, ay, ay. That's crazy. Martin Harris marries Lucy Harris, his first cousin, and they eventually have 6 children. Wow. And they talk about Joseph Smith. Wow. Harrison enlists in the 39th Military Militia and is eventually promoted to first sergeant. Excuse me. Live. When you're live, things happen. Okay. So that's just the way it is. Sorry about that. But anyway, so he's in a first sergeant in the Army in 1812, the War of 1812. And in a theophany learns, uh, in a theophany learns, I should not join in any church although I was anxiously sought for by many sectarians. And so, again, that was his feeling. Um, this is the Martin and Lucy home at Palmyra. Uh, hires Joseph Smith Sr. and Hiram Smith to rock up a wall, um, and to rock up a well and a wall up the basement of his new house. So again, if I remember correctly, and we can kind of double check this if you want, but again, the Smith family is looking for a way to earn money so that they can buy a farm. And this might be when they, but the Smiths live in Palmyra at the same time because they moved from Vermont. The Smiths, okay, so we'll do that again. Hires Joseph Smith Sr. and Hiram Smith to rock up a wall and wall up the basement of his new house. Smiths confide in Martin about the angel Moroni and the gold plates. All right. So this is 1824. So in 1823 is whenever, and that's 3 years after the Joseph Smith has the first vision. So again, uh, is this a part of is this evidence of the fact that Moroni is again they're building a wall in the building a well, and they're building a wall in his house, and there's this, and obviously they're becoming good friends because it doesn't take 10 minutes to build these things. It takes days or weeks to get these things done. So they're very they're getting to be familiar with each other enough that they've become good friends, that they trust each other. All right. Um, so there's trust in Martin from the Smiths to Martin Harris, that, and it again, if they're telling this story to him, there must have been other conversations about spirituality also. There's also the fact that they're working for Martin Harris, all right, and um, to jeopardize that relationship with this gentleman named Martin Harris to simply promote um, a fascinating story that they made up seems to be contrary to what they're trying to accomplish. They're trying to buy a farm. They're trying to they're trying to earn money from Martin Harris, and Martin Harris is well enough off that he can pay them for their services. And Martin Harris could be like, "Hey, this goofy story here, I'm cutting you off. You're done." And there's a movie out there. Was it called "The Work and the Glory," I believe, and it has this family in there. There's a family named the Steeds, and it's a based on the Joseph Smith story, but using a fictional family called the Steeds. And uh, whenever the townspeople in this movie start telling the Steeds of the character of Joseph Smith because of all the strange things that are going on, the Steed family just like cuts them off from laboring with to as hired individuals for their for building up their farm. And so again, Martin Harris doesn't do that. He doesn't cut them off. Strange, isn't it? All right. So again, that's evidence that Martin Harris is curious about this situation. All right. Again, he goes once he learns about this situation. Um, it he what does he do with it? And obviously, eventually, he embraces the idea. He's there helping the Smith family and Joseph Smith find ways of getting the work done. He himself starts to be a scribe, and he's got all kinds of, and he stays through it all. He could, no matter how much his wife is hounding him and beating him down, he's not giving up, even though that he hasn't seen the plates. He's not giving up on the work at all. All he's doing is asking for reward versus the reward that is equal to the effort that he's putting out. That's what he's looking for. And for him, maybe that reward is the convincing of others because, uh, again, he's very much, what would you say? And we should, we might even want to look up his horoscope. I mean, to look at that. But I think he's quite insecure in a lot of ways. He doesn't trust a lot of people. Let's look at that. So May of 1873. Let's go there real quick. I think that's interesting. Um, let's see here. Uh, I always love looking up May. Where do we go? Let's see. May 1873. May 18th, 1873. All right. May horoscope. Horoscope of May 18th. 1783. All right. Let's see. Is it in his nature? All right. That's the question. All right. It says May 18th birthday predicts that you are a realistic, outgoing, and self-assured individual. You need to have your space and privacy. The bulls uh, on the birthday is where, let's see here. I don't even like that one. Let's see here. Let's see if we can find another one here that actually is a little bit better. Um, all right. So it looks like Taurus, okay? Uh, as a Taurus born May 18th, you have an enthusiastic, altruistic nature. You also possess this natural intelligence that goes beyond the knowledge that you have. You can read into what is going on quite fast. And most of the people you are close to are like an open book to you at times. You are indulgent with yourself, prepared to read comprehensive profile analysis. Okay. So again, if I get this right, he's somebody who's very uh, uh, aware of other people's uh, honesty. If I get that right, um, let's see if we can get anything else out of this. Negative traits. These negative traits are self-indulgent and inflexible, and this time and sometimes lead to them becoming resentful of the success of others. Oh, remember why he left the church? Because he wasn't put on a pedestal with the rest of them. That he was diminished to a role that only that he was only the person that was helping financially, feeling like the reward was not uh, equivalent to his to the effort that he was putting forth. All right, then diminishing even the last trace of motivation they had regarding that particular situation. They can be easily offended as well and should learn to see past the negative value of criticism. They should also stop being indecisive. Oh, he went all over the place with religion. This coupled with their stubbornness makes them extremely difficult to reason with. Boy, and I could only imagine what his other, let's get this out of the way here, bring this over here. So again, all these negative traits that we're looking at, I don't want to be negative about Martin Harris, but it shows there's a pattern here of 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 that kind of situation. Let's see the Chinese. We got to get into the minds of these people and see how what makes them tick. You know what I mean? Um, let's see. The he's Year of the Rabbit. Okay. Uh, so he's a rabbit. Okay. Chinese horoscope rabbit. And see, this is fun. This is all fun. I hope you get into this. But let's see what the characteristics of a rabbit is. Skittish, no doubt. Uh, let's see. Let's see what it says here. Um, Career, love, wealth, health, money, romantic health. Doggone it. That's not where I want to be. Definitely not where I want to be. See here. We can find it here. Does it give us? You got to be kidding me. It's not working. Got to be something we can find. Oh, there we go. Maybe this will work. Okay. Year of the Rabbit. Sorry about this. Uh, they should make it easy. Okay, let's try it this way. Chinese Rabbit. Personality traits. Sorry about the delay here, but it's very important that we get into um, to personality traits of the human beings because again, this this is foundational on how we um, look into the mind of the human being. And we've already discovered in his zodiac signs that he was everything that he portrayed as a human being uh, uh, with his down or his removal from the church is all laid out in his zodiac signs. So let's see what his weaknesses are here. Ambitious and tends to drift along. Uh, Peacocky, sometimes timid, wild, weak-willed, and self-satisfied with joy. Emotional, unwilling to study hard, tends to be bureaucratic, fickle in love and prone to love disputes, indecisive, and often fail out of amorous matter, overly scrupulous, unwilling to unbosom, but escape. What in the world? Anyway, there's some things there. I can't give you all. Um, anyway, thoughtful, tender. But anyway, we got through that. Sorry for taking us off track there a little bit. But we want to get into the mind of the individual that we're talking about. So again, especially the zodiac sign, he does fit every every character trait that is in there, the weakness. And so it seems like his weakness shows through more so than his strengths. And because that's because he does leave the church. So there's a lot of negative things to think about when that happens. So let's continue on here with his story here. Again, he hired the Smiths, and the Smiths are like, "Hey, got this news," and then he never fired them. That's crazy. Martin learns that Joseph Smith has the gold plates. This is in 1827. All right. Um, Lucy has a vision of the plates in a dream, and insists of giving Joseph. All right, Joseph $28, $700 in today's day, to go towards the expenses of for the translation of the publications. Now, Lucy Harris, and that's who she's what they're talking about, um, brought Joseph to court uh, and uh, and claimed that he was frauding, was a fraud, and it comes up in court. See, that's one of those, and we'll get into that in just a minute. We want to just get through Martin Harris' part in this 116 pages. Martin helps Joseph hide the plates from mobs attempting to steal the gold Bible. All right. So Martin Harris is a part of the interaction where where he's actually uh, um, uh, he he believes the story about the plates enough to help Joseph hide the plates from the mobs. So he's interacting with them uh, in the early days of this work. So again, Martin Harris's involvement testifies that there's something going on, that there's something credible going on with the story about these plates, even though that he hasn't seen them. All right, and the Smith family is poor, and Martin Harris doesn't have a need for money, and I don't think, is he looking at this as a way to make money? I don't know. His wife is a Quaker. I don't think I don't think they're really into uh, what would you say conning people out of money, because he's paying the Smith family money for building the walls. So he's a practical guy. He's a hands-on guy. He he's not so he's a farmer. All right. He's already successful as a farmer. So much so that he's able to hire people to do work for him. So why would he uh, uh, ruin his reputation, which reputation at that time is huge, because if you're a farmer, you've got to sell product to make money, and you've got to be able to hire people to do work for you. And if people find out that your reputation is spoiled by the fact that you're getting into involved in a con, then you would then you could completely ruin your whole reputation and the ability to hire and to sell your goods. So I don't know. So again, he leaves the church. All right. He's not making, and he's got money, so he's not, he doesn't seem to, and he's the one who's helping the church through its financial problems all the time, which is one of the reasons that he does leave the church. So again, for what 8 years or 10 years, 12 years that he's known the Smiths from 1824 up to 1838, he's he's doing everything he can to support the efforts of Joseph Smith. And again, and he's not getting anything out of it for 12 years. All right. So that demonstrates that Martin Harris is all in for a long time, that he doesn't see that the money situation eventually it weighs on him so long, and the fact that his wife passes away probably lends to that. And anyway, we'll continue on here with our study. But again, this is evidence that points to Joseph Smith's prophetic calling and how much Martin Harris was all in on this over time. Now, again, he still has what was again that attitude of reward versus effort that he's putting in. Martin learns that Joseph Smith has the gold plates. Lucy has a vision of the plates in a dream and insists on giving Joseph $28, which is da 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 da. And we've already read that. Martin helps Joseph hide the plates from mobs uh, attempting to steal the gold Bible. Martin gives Joseph $50 to defray the cost of moving from Palmyra to Harmony, Pennsylvania. He purchases a black suit for Joseph and pays his outstanding debt. Um, Joseph Smith transcribes characters from the golden plates uh, to a piece of paper, which Martin takes to Utica, New York, and meets Luther Brandish, Charles Anton, and Dr. Samuel Mitchell. So again, Martin Harris is all over the fact that he's looking uh, for somebody outside of his little group there that is going that again he's being pounded constantly by his wife, and he's receiving messages and whatever based on the fact that he's not home and he's over there doing this crazy stuff, and yet he should be here with me and he should be farming. All right, she's a practical woman. She's a Quaker, or at least from a Quaker. And a first cousin too. How's that? But anyway, so he's trying to do everything he can to find a place of peace, and he's doing and the only way he feels that he's going to be able to find a place of peace is to have an overwhelming amount of evidence that he can take to his wife and say, finally, it is done. But he can't have the gold plates, as they call them. All right. Joseph Smith transcribes characters from we already read that, okay, and he takes them over there, and then the famous one is Charles Anton. He rips up, says, "I can't read a sealed book." All right, uh, March 1828, journeys with his wife to Harmony, Pennsylvania. All right, Joseph Smith Emma farm. That's that. Uh, Martin acts as scribe for Joseph Smith as he translates the Book of Lehi. Completes scribing 116 pages containing the Book of Lehi and part of the Book of Mosiah. Martin begins journey to Palmyra, taking the 116 pages of the manuscript. All right, about July 7th, 1828. Loses 116 pages, confesses to Joseph Smith of the loss of the pages. The Lord chastises in D&C 3 and 10. Lucy Harris enters, and this is 1829. This is where it gets good. Lucy Harris enters a complaint against Joseph before the magistrate in Lyons, New York. Martin testifies before the magistrate on Joseph Smith's behalf. Again, how he because it went to court, and I'm sure we have court records, all right, some kind of some kind of transcript from that court proceeding that we can identify that this goes to court, and she admits in court that she had given Joseph Smith $28 to help with the production of the Book of Mormon, and she's the biggest complainer in Martin Harris's life. So again, that part about uh, that gives what would you say, authenticity of these people that are interacting, all right, with Joseph Smith, that there was actually something going on. We have it recorded in the records of the government. All right. So that's why there's not a lot said by the antis out there about the 116 pages, because they know that that there's so much evidence uh, that is validating the 116 pages, that they don't want to go there at all. All right. So eventually, Martin Harris and Joseph Smith are chastised. Martin Harris loses the position of scribe, of course, and then he's still having problems with his but with his wife and stuff like that. No matter what, uh, again, so we labored over Martin Harris for a little bit. Let's go. Let's see if we can go to Lucy and read her what it says in Wikipedia here. Again, these are all fun facts, and we need to learn about these people because, again, the reason that we're reading, we're providing evidence that people were involved and what their involvement was, and what and does it point back to Joseph Smith's prophetic calling? Again, let's bring up a scenario I thought about yesterday. Whenever Joseph Smith uh, and Martin Harris are together, Martin Harris is a scribe, and Martin Harris is a religious man. I think there's enough evidence there because, again, his wife is a Quaker, all right, and his characteristics are that he likes, that kind of interaction at the time. Um, because whenever he's hired on the Smith family, somehow they get to the position uh, of 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 a conversation. Uh, Obviously, they were talking about religion a lot because everybody else is, and so they get to the part where they talk about Joseph Smith's uh, visitation from Moroni and the gold plates. So obviously, this guy is a what would you call a praying man? So why doesn't Martin Harris, if this, I mean, again, how do you think this is some kind of conspiracy or fraud if there's this many moving parts? All right. Lucy Harris, Martin Harris, Joseph Smith, the family of the Smiths. All right. And then you have the people who helped scribe Emma Smith. All right. These journals that they produce. And then you have the Emma Smith's brother, who's also a scribe. All right. So many moving parts that you can't just simply say that there's a conspiracy to to create this book, because there's a lot of people against the work that's being done within the close proximity of these individuals that are actually engaged with the work, including Lucy Harris. All right, because her story really amplifies the fact that this is a real event, that these pages were being written, all right, that there was 116 pages. She goes to court and validates the story because of the fact that she pays out $28 for the work to go forward, even though that she's demanding Harris not to stop this foolishness. All right. So again, too many moving parts to to say that this is some kind of cheap con that somebody's trying to play. That people are really involved in this. All right. So Lucy Harris was born in May 1st. So basically, the same sign uh, as Harris has. Um, at the Smithfield Province. Let's see here. Harris and the book. All right. Early on, the translation of the Book of Mormon, Harris became frustrated with her husband and skeptical of Joseph Smith because of how much Martin was helping Smith with the translation effort. She questioned Smith personally about the plates and demanded to see them. He told her he was not permitted to exhibit them to anyone except those whom the Lord should appoint to testify of them. This did not resolve her concern, and she persisted in demanding to see the plates. She wanted to be special in this situation. She wanted to feel like she was intimate with the situation, and didn't again reward versus effort. And because she's taking on more of the responsibilities at home because of the work that Martin Harris is doing. In order to convince Lucy that they were translating an ancient book of scripture, Martin Harris asked Smith to let him borrow the 116 pages of the Book of Mormon translation. Smith said that these pages of the Book of Mormon were a translation from the book of Lehi at the insistence of Martin Harris, and despite Smith saying he was warned not to by the Lord, Smith reluctantly loaned the pages to him. The manuscript was subsequently lost. Okay, so again, um, why didn't Martin Harris go to the Lord himself and pretend to receive a message that it was okay for him to take the pages? All right. If this is some kind of, if Martin is playing a game and Joseph is playing a game at the same time, Martin would instinctively, in his part of the con, go and say, Joseph, the Lord, I prayed to the Lord, and the Lord said it was okay for me to take the pages. And Joseph would be like, okay, well, my Lord is telling me that you're not. There would kind of be that kind of back and forth. And there's no evidence of that. It is plainly Martin saying, Joseph, you are the one who's talking to the Lord. He's talking to you. And and you have access to God in a way that I don't have access to God. Go to God, go to the Lord and ask him. I'm pleading with you. My wife is hammering me to death. I need I need to take this so that I can show that I'm actually engaged in some kind of work here, that we are not just pitter-pattering around, that we're actually engaged in a mighty work. And the words are so convincing to me that I'm willing to sit here. This thing that we're doing, I'm so convinced it's real that I'm willing to stay through it thick and thin. But it doesn't make it easy for me to go home and listen to my wife nag at me all day. So again, go to the Lord. You have spoken to the Lord. He speaks to you directly. So you go to the Lord. All right. Joe Smith goes to the Lord, and the Lord says no. And then Martin Harris, it's like, please go back. You know, I beg of you, please go back. And so Joseph, it needs Martin Harris. He thinks that he needs Martin Harris, but God has already provided a whole way for him to get through this. All right. So again, the Lord uses uh, this loss of the 116 pages directly for me, I would say, to say, here's more evidence of the validation, and now you go out and share this, these evidences that are absolutely written in stone, written in the law, the court of the United States, stating fact that Martin Harris and Lucy Harris were involved in the translation process of the Book of Mormon. All right, and that their stories should be uh, uh, credible or credible evidence towards the facts. All right. So anyway, let's get into this. Manuscript was subsequently lost, and a variety of theories as this disappearance. Some Latter-day Saints believe Lucy hid them. There's evidence, and I was watching a thing that it doesn't hold. There's because even on her deathbed, and she's a Quaker, and she would never. Quakers are absolutely not lying. And there's these stories about the Quakers who are running the Underground Railroad and how they are, and in one of the books that I have here, um, how they are confronted by this situation where they have Elijah Abel and their family in the basement, and the and the people that were coming to try to uh, again do whatever they do to slaves, all right, capture them and take them back to their masters or kill them. When they come to the house, they ask the Quakers, "Hey, you got any slaves here?" Well, and they said no, and the Quaker was able to do that because they don't believe that man should ever be in bond or in slavery. So they were speaking the truth. But they did it. They know what the men were trying to ask, but they were able to. So they're very aware of lying and the truth, what a lie is and what the truth is. And so again, Lucy Harris is on her deathbed, and she still says that I did not hide those pages. I have no idea where they're at. So we have to take her character, her natural character, and say that this is probably the right answer. All right. According to the journal of Joseph Smith's mother, Lucy Mack Smith, Harris expressed once that she missed her husband, but after she informed Harris that he left to accompany Joseph Smith and to take the Egyptian characters to the east to call on all the professors and linguists and giving a translation of the characters, Harris became highly exasperated and charged me with planning the whole affair. After contending briefly with Harris, Smith reported, "Now stop," said I. "Do you know that we have never asked for asked you for money or property, and that if we had been disposed to take advantage of your liberty, could we not have obtained at least $270 of your cash?" She answered in the affirmative. Notwithstanding, she went home in a great rage, determined to have satisfaction for the treatment which she had received. In a short time, Harris returned, and his wife's anger kindled afresh at his presence, insomuch that she prepared to separate a separate bed and room for him, which room she refused to enter. Um, in a later report by Smith, she described the reaction of Lucy Harris upon her discovery of damaged chests or drawers, a consequence of Martin's decision to pick the lock. Then, when he was unable to locate the key to show the manuscript pages to a friend, when Miss Harris returned and discovered the marred state of her chest of drawers, her temper was excited to the utmost pitch, and an intolerable storm ensued, which descended with great violence upon the devoted head of her husband. So she beaten up her husband. So anyway, you have this story, and again, Lucy Macksmith is saying, "Hey, we could have got this money out of you, and we never did." You know, just shutting that down. Let's get rid of some of this stuff here. So we've got there, and we've got there. So and we've already done through that. Um, there's more stuff here, and we're getting long here. Just a couple of things that I wanted to show you. I tried to, again, I got home late, and so I never got a chance to do everything I wanted to do last night. So I apologize for not being absolutely prepared 100%. So you get what you get. Let's see if I can find it here. All right. So here's a couple of things that I want to show you. Um, let's move this over here. Let's stop sharing and share something else. Do, 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 do. So I put this thing up uh, as a way to illustrate those who were involved in the in this work and show that there's a lot of different players visually seeing the names and then that way understanding that there's a lot of moving pieces in this process. And I didn't name them all. Who was involved in that caused the manuscript to be lost? Uh, Again, Joseph Smith Jr., Martin Harris, and Lucy Smith, or Lucy Harris. All right. So they're involved because Martin goes to Joseph, and Joseph eventually buckles under the pressure of Martin and gives him the 116 pages. So he's absolutely involved in the loss of the 116 pages. And then you have Lucy Harris, whose insists to seeing evidence of the work, and because of the anger that she has because of Martin not being there, she doesn't read the text critically that is given to her and know the sanctity of the words that are being that are written on these pages. All right, so so she definitely is never going to accept the situation no matter what, except again, she pays the $28 to help for the because she had seen a vision of the plates, and obviously that moved her to a position that she had to accept her role in the Book of Mormon and the process of it coming forth, and the fact that Martin Harris, we should have seen how when Lucy Harris dies, and I think it was in the 1830s, late mid 1830s, but she's again, she's not they eventually separate and all that, but Martin Harris and Lucy Harris. So Martin Harris never leaves the church up to the time where uh, uh, the safety the bank goes under. Then there's a lot of moving parts there, and then his only appreciation that he sees is that he's got money and he can help the church out, and he's like despondent about that. So he doesn't want much to do with the church because of that. And Joseph Smith's role and the role that he has, that he's not put in an elevated position because he was one of the people that were witnesses of the Book of Mormon, and how much effort he had put in and what reward he was receiving was again the uh, well, he gets to help financially, not knowing that the Lord had blessed him to be financially stable enough that he could help. Again, we all run into that a little bit. So here's the three, and then you can only see. I wish I had more. I apologize, I don't have more. But again, life happens, and I got to work, and. So the next page here, it shows all who were witnesses of the creation of the 116 pages. All right. So you have Martin Harris, Emma Smith, and Reuben Hale, who are scribes, and Joseph Smith, who's sitting there uh, 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 seeking after the words in his little hat and his stone. He's there. So you got four people that are actually involved in the translation process. All right. Like again, Reuben Hale is the brother of Emma Smith or Emma Hale, who becomes Emma Smith by marriage to Joseph Smith. And then you have Isaac Hale and Elizabeth Hale, who are the parents of Emma and Reuben. Again, they are there. They are part of the process. They're allowing their son, who's probably older, to go and help with the process. So they're very much a witness to the fact that uh, that the work is going on. They had allowed Joseph Smith and Emma Smith to have one of their homes so that they could continue to work, because Joseph Smith is supposed to be farming the land and improving the land while he's there, but he's so involved with the work that is going forward that uh, that he's not able to do this stuff. So again, and then you get complaints, you know. Um, then you have uh, the oh, lost my train of thought, but let's go on. Then you have the Smith family themselves, Joseph Smith Sr. And Hiram Smith, who are the ones who are working with Martin Harris and telling him the story in which involves Joseph Smith and receiving, or how he's had a vision or a visitation from this holy messenger named Moroni, who's going to eventually give him the plates to translate a whole new set of scripture from. So they're very much involved, all right? And then you have Lucy Mack Smith, who's actually uh, very attached to her son Joseph Smith, because they're both on the same, somewhat on the same plane of spirituality and receiving vision and having that connection to God. So she's paying attention to that boy very well, very closely, all right, and everything that he's doing. So she actually creates a journal or a biography, basically, of her life surrounding the her son Joseph Smith, and she tells all these stories. So she's intimately involved, and then that interaction she has with Lucy Harris, all right, and those things so show that she is involved in the situation of the or the coming forth of these 116 pages. And again, whenever Martin Harris is Joseph Smith arrives and they send one of the boys out to go invite Martin to come to breakfast, you know, and so that means much of the family and the daughters are involved in this feast that they're fixing for Martin Harris, only to and to invite him. So they all know why that they've asked him to come to the house to eat with them, because they know that there's something wrong, and they want to to make every effort they can to show that they're willing to listen to his side of the story if he'll just come, you know, because they need to know what's going on. And he seems to be aloof. So fixing a man breakfast, man, that means a lot to a man. All right. So it takes him 4 hours to get there. So they've got a lot of people. The Smith family is fully involved. Now there's some that are away at this time. But again, I thought that was kind of, you know, we need to see those names and know that these people are real who were involved in these first 116 pages. Again, and so anyway, let's go back here a little bit. Let's get out of here to stop sharing. Let's see where we're going here. Let's read the account here. Let's get into this. Actually, I want to do something different. the person wrote yesterday a few things, and I want to get into what he was saying. Right. Uh, Let's see if I can find uh, his comments because he made some very good points. His name is Trevor Hammond. All right, we'll share this. Let's see if we can find it real quick here as we're going through. Um, let's see if this is it here. Yeah, let's go with this one here. Trevor Hammond says, "I'm very interested." Uh, to me, um, this is what he wrote. To me, it would have been impossible for Joseph Smith to have been the author of First and Second Nephi. Between the time Joseph found out that Martin Harris had lost the 116 pages and the time he started dictating what is now First and Second Nephi, it was not humanly possible to create new material almost one quarter of the entire Book of Mormon, given that almost all of the waking hours were spent in continuing in dictating the rest of the Book of Mormon. Again, they don't um, they don't start with First and Second Nephi when they started the translation process with Oliver Cowdery. They actually start with Mosiah and continue to go all the way to the end, and then they drop back and do the plates of Nephi, and they continue on from there up to Mosiah. So again, it's really quite complicated to make a book like that. I imagine. I'd never tried. He had no time to write or create new material. And he had no money to secretly buy papers on which to write new draft. Yeah, he's being again. These people are involved, and somehow the absurdities that the antis out there make and their claims about Joseph Smith having all this material available, and and within the 60 days, he's he's created, well, let's do it this way. In 50 days, maybe, he created from Mosiah to Moroni. All right. And and during that time, Oliver Cowdery is on his heels every step of the way. His wife is on his heels every step of the way because they got this. I mean, they're involved. You know what I mean? They want they're because Oliver Cowdery thinks this guy is just like the best thing since sliced bread. But not only that, David Whitmer, and then you have the Whitmer family, and you have Mary Whitmer, who eventually provide space for them to do the work because in Harmony, they they what would you say? They're being harassed too much so that they can't continue. So now you got a lot more people hanging on Joseph Smith. So when does Joseph Smith have time? I love this point. Have time to create a whole new script, First and Second Nephi, with all these people who would witness this. They'd have to all be conspirators, and yet none of them deny the process in which the Book of Mormon comes forth. So thank you for those comments. Let me continue on. Um, and unless Emma and Oliver and Martin were deaf, Joseph had to memorize each day's dictation the night before. As hat or no hat, none of the scribes saw or heard him with sheets of paper for that day's dictation. Uh, Again, Martin Harris leaves the church because of money, because he feels, again, a lack of reward based versus uh, the effort that he's putting forth. All right. So if he's despondent about these things, he's showing himself uh, where his mind is. That money is not his object; it's power. He seeks after power that he can't get because the only way he gets power is having evidence showing, that idea that I have power because I have evidence, and therefore I can overwhelm the naysayers. I can overwhelm my wife and her little bickering at me all the time about, I can overwhelm her with evidence. This is power. And when he doesn't receive a position of authority in the church, it puts him in a place where now he feels as a withdrawn of any association with power. And that's what he's looking for, that convincing power over others. But that what power he does possess, and he holds on to it all the way up to 84 years old, is the fact that he was a witness of the of of the uh, of the Book of Mormon. That he stood along with Joseph Smith, Oliver Cowdery, and David Whitmer as witnesses to the literal fact that the Lord had uh, given Joseph Smith a work to do. That they were a part of that, and that's the power. And he held on to that all the way through. Be- Remember, he's looking for reward versus effort. And this is the reward. This is that mantle that he holds to means everything to him because he possesses it of himself, and nobody else can have that. But when it came to having power within the church, somebody else held those mantles of power, and he felt like that he didn't belong, that he didn't, that again, reward versus uh, effort always. That's his modus operandus. Uh, to me, it is unbelievable and requires much more faith to believe Joseph Smith dictated 1 and 2 Nephi from a previously written script. To me, I believe that Joseph claimed what Joseph claimed, and what the Spirit confirms, and that is that the Book of Mormon was dictated by a living prophet by the gift and power of God. Um, he does this other thing too. Um, and he was asking, who wrote the new pages? Solomon Spaulding? That's what he asked. And this is Trevor Harmon again, Hammond. Great words that he's speaking. I wish he could have joined us, but he's seems to be very articulate and very on track on his comments. I promised I would put him in here. Solomon Spaulding was already dead for more than 10 years, and Sidney Rigdon didn't come on the scene until, again, that idea um, that somehow that Joseph Smith got the writings from Solomon Spaulding, and if you compared the writing of the Book of Mormon compared to Solomon Spaulding, which was found much later, there's no correlation between the two. And then you have uh, uh, the idea that Sidney Rigdon was the author of the Book of Mormon, but yet it wasn't until uh, Parley P. Pratt and another go and actually proselyte and present him with the Book of Mormon, which he actually uh, insists is I ain't gonna touch that. But eventually he reads it, and he finds himself joining the church. Um, let's see here. No, there was something. Oh, yeah, yeah. I hope I can find it. Let's see if I can find it. There was another one that he made a comment in, and I'm hoping to find it here. Doggone it. Oh, sorry about that. Because he made some really good points, and I'm going to give him all the credit to inspiring me also. Let's see if this one is it right here. He reacts, but nope, 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 nope. Let's see. Well, okay. Well, I didn't see it off the top. Okay. So what we have here, again, let's get out of this and stop sharing. Oops. Anyway, let's review what we just went over here. Martin Harris and Lucy Harris, and because they went to court, provide us legal documentation that there was event taking place with the Book of Mormon as the first 116 pages. They were involved in some way. All right. And then you have M. Smith, who also is a part of this, and Isaac Hale and his wife and the brother who also was part of this people that were scribes of these first 116 pages. All right. And then you have, after they were lost, you have the Smith family inviting Martin Harris over. And also this the fact that Lucy Mack Smith and Lucy Harris interact with each other, and there's this conversation about money and time that Martin is spending going to the East to see these professors and all these things. That means there's a lot of different parts that are interwoven in this tapestry that you have to be convinced that there was 116 pages, that there was pages that were actually was written on, that because of the fact that nobody really is out there refuting this idea that there was a, words written on papers that were lost because you can't. It's there's too many moving parts. You have documentation of Lucy Harris in this court claiming that her husband was taking so much time away from the farm and stuff like that. It was putting undue burden on her, and then he needed to be home instead of doing that. And then all of a sudden, and how Joseph Smith was frauding them. And it's not because, and even though she was talking about the money, what Joseph Smith was doing, he was frauding her of Martin Harris's time with her, which she didn't really love, and it's her first cousin anyway. Getting married to your first cousin is pretty creepy. But also the fact that she herself has to declare that she paid give Joseph Smith $28 for the publication of the Book of Mormon and the work that needed to be done. So again, you have legal documents that stating that there's that people are involved with the production of the Book of Mormon. All right. And so there, like I said, a lot of moving parts. So what do we do with this evidence? Well, share it, like it, subscribe to the channel, and then you leave a comment. If you want to become a part of this and think that you can help me produce better content, please do so. I beg of you. Contact me on Zoom, contact me on Facebook, Arthur A.J. Hill. Also, a Facebook group called For the Love of God. Also, I have another YouTube channel called A Latter-day Saint on Fire, and another YouTube channel that I did some very heated discussion with some antis and called Paul and AJ's Ex-Mormon Files. Also, you can find me on Instagram and for a Latter-day Saint on Fire, and also on TikTok, a Latter-day Saint on Fire. So there's all these places where you can see things and all that. And I'm going to do my best to be more available on those other smaller things that I do. Again, I appreciate those who have joined me. I love the gospel. I know that the gospel is true. Do I need this evidence to convince me the of the origin of the Book of Mormon? No, I know it's true because the words in that book speak to me, and they reveal the Christ in such a way that is unlike any other. The fact that Joseph Smith saw the Father and the Son, that is evidence of, and all the things that have happened to me over my lifetime. So again, with all this, I am going to say goodbye, and thank you all for joining me that have made it this far, and I appreciate the individuals that continue to inspire me to bring forth more content. And we're going to get into this some more tomorrow. I think there's a lot more things that we need to discover about these 116 pages. I'm going to contact a person that's a very knowledgeable about history. If nothing else, we'll watch his videos that has been produced with him in it, and we'll just have him join us that way. How about that? And again, I love the gospel. It's everything to me. And I say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. And you guys have a great day.